Hey guys, I hope you're all doing very well. In one of my videos last week, I pointed out that I'm going to buy the new Nintendo Switch. And this is not it. This is the original Nintendo Switch. This is the one that's been out for about 2 years. There is a new portable version coming out called the Nintendo Switch Lite, but the one that I'm buying is the Mark II, the upgrade of the original design. It will have better battery life. Maybe the screen will be improved. I'm not sure, but we'll see it launched if there's been any other refinements. But the one that I'm going to buy is this one, the one that comes with a dock, the one that can be connected to a television, the one that you can take off the Joy-Con controllers and play it, with you and your friend and things like that. So I'm going to state the obvious here. This has been out for 2 years. Most of you will have played a Switch. Many of you might own one, but you've probably seen it being played on a train or a plane, or you've played it in a shop or something like that. So it's way too late for me to do a review of the Nintendo Switch, but I've only really played this at my friend's house once or twice. I've not really looked at it extensively, so I wanted to do a video for other people like myself, other people who perhaps have stuck to the PS4 and Xbox One over the last 2 years and haven't got round to buying a Nintendo Switch. I'd like to look at the console, I'd like to look at the docking station, the games, the controller, and just give you a general overview of what this console is all about. I like to play the games as well, so at one point what I'm going to do is hook this up to my Elgato and we can play a couple of games. I'll just give you my opinion of the games, etc. Now, one of the reasons I didn't buy the Nintendo Switch is because I had the Wii U, and I loved the Wii U. I know a lot of people slated it, but I loved it. I thought it was a great console, and one of the reasons I didn't buy the Switch at launch is because the two of the best games at launch were Mario Kart and Legend of Zelda, and I had them, so I really didn't feel there was an incentive to buy one. But over time, there has been a lot of good games coming out on the Switch, so I went from, I wasn't too keen at getting it at launch. I've not missed the boat, but I think I probably, maybe in hindsight, I should have bought this a year ago, maybe, because there's a lot of good games out there. So the games that my friends got just here is Super Mario Odyssey, Puyo Puyo Tetris, FIFA 18, and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which I've kind of already got, but it'd be good to see that as well. So yes, without further ado, let's take a closer look at the Nintendo Switch. So here I have the Nintendo Switch. It's currently in its dock and it's charging, as you can see from the green light. If I take it out, you can see the device itself. Essentially a tablet with the Joy-Con controllers at the side, which can be removed. Before I show you the actual console here, I just want to quickly show you the dock. This is a big part of the Switch, and it's why it's called the Switch, because you can change it from this mode here. You can take the Joy-Con controllers off, and you can use a stand at the back to sit it down. But the other mode is when it's docked. And when it's docked, it's charging, but it also allows you to connect to your television. You can see there, HDMI. So there's a couple of USB ports at the back there, Type A. But if you open this up, you've got your power adapter, your AC adapter, you've got a USB port, and you've got your HDMI, which is quite good. And it kind of means that you can switch where you're playing with your friend, and then they go away and you put the controllers back on, and then you want to play on your big television, you just put it into the dock and it will charge and it will allow you to play on your television. Kind of stating the obvious to many of you, but I think it is important to realise how this is all set up. It's very different to how it works with the Wii U. Now, I'll show you this in a second, but again, it's just to stress how different this is, because hopefully I can pull this over, just to kind of state the obvious again, but the Nintendo Wii U actually needs a console. This isn't a standalone device. This needs the Nintendo Wii U. This is a hard disk in here spinning, and I'm not going to say it's super noisy, but it does make a sound. You can hear it there. Now I'll go back to the Wii U controller in a second. I want to show you the Switch. This is what we're here for. So as far as the screen goes, it's certainly a jump up and improvement from the Wii U. The resolution is better. The Joy-Con controllers here, I think they're quite good. I think it's quite a unique system that they've got here. I'm using the thumbstick there to move around, but you can do that. It's quite responsive. Plus, minus helps you see which controllers they are. Y, X, B, A, you've got your thumbsticks. Buttons here again, but it will double as a D-pad. This will capture an image from the screen. You've got your home button there, brings you back to the home screen wherever you are. You can charge directly with Type-C there. You've got your kickstand, which is what you will use if you kind of take the controllers off. And underneath, you should be able to see there is a micro SD card slot. You can also see there are speakers there. There are speakers at the top, power button, volume going up and down there, headphone jack, and the actual game. And right now I've got Mario Kart 8 in, just an SD card. So it's really nice. I really like it, and it has been out a while. But if you want to see something, I've got this connected. I had to charge it there. The battery light was flashing. No, it seems to be okay now. I will do a separate video. I want to do a separate video and compare the Wii U and the Nintendo Switch. Kind of take a closer look at it. But I mean, even if you just look at this here, you can see that the resolution on this screen is so much better. This is bigger. It's chunkier, and you actually need the console itself. Now, don't get me wrong, this is comfortable in the hand. I always enjoyed playing with this. It's got the stylus, and it's got all the buttons in really good positions. It's a comfortable device to sit and play for a long period of time. But even when this launched, I was always of the opinion that it was quite dated in many ways. Yeah, I mean, even, just everything just wasn't as responsive as it should be. It was quite dated. It felt sluggish in comparison to tablets and iPads and things like that, Android tablets, iPads. Everything was just a little bit slower than it should have been. Certainly when compared to the PlayStation 3 and things like that as well. Loading screens, the store, everything was just a little bit sluggish. That being said, I have a lot of love for the Wii U. It got slated by a lot of people, but I enjoyed it. There was a lot of great games, a lot of fantastic games on the system, and I still enjoy it. I still think it's a console. But if you look at these two devices, it's clear to see that Nintendo, the foundation of the Switch was born in the Wii U. They were really kind of testing things with the Wii U, and they obviously saw what was working with the Wii U and used it as a prototype, I guess, to build the Switch. Without the Wii U, maybe we wouldn't have got the Switch. I think it's safe to say that. I'll just quickly show you. Let's see these here. See if we can do a quick comparison. This may make it a little bit obvious, as far as the difference in the screens and things like that. The obvious, again, this is thinner and lighter. This is big and bulky. But when you're actually sitting playing a game, a lot of these things kind of disappear. You forget little kind of things like that. But looking at it, you can see that... okay. You can see... Okay, can I do this both at the same time? If I can finish the sentence. You can see that the Nintendo Switch looks better. It does. Which is to be expected. It did come out, years later. Hopefully I can get this playing to show you. Load up. Come on. Now, interestingly, it's quite funny for me to look at these games, because this is one of the reasons why I didn't go for the Switch. When the Switch came out, I already had this. I had Mario Kart, I had Legend of Zelda, and I had a ton of other games that I wanted to play. I wanted to complete on the Wii U before I even entertained spending more money. Let's see if I can do this. Can I do this one-handed? You can just see how much quicker that was on as well. See if I can do this. This will be a miracle if I can do this at the same time. Nah, it's not working. Yeah. Just the screen. I mean, you can see yourself from the screen. It looks so much better on the Switch. It really does. It's a smaller, compact device as well. It's lighter. The screen looks better. Overall, it's just a major improvement, without a doubt. So I'm going to close that off just now. I didn't have the sound on the Wii U there, by the way, just in case you were wondering. You can hear it now. That's the Wii U sound. So yeah, I love the Wii U. Now, one of the things what Nintendo have did here is they've designed the Joy-Cons. And the Joy-Con, it's innovative, but this is what Nintendo do. Nintendo have always been at the forefront of developing controllers. Yeah, their original NES controller was kind of basic, 2 buttons. That was common at the time. But then they moved up to the SNES controllers with the 6 buttons. Then you had Nintendo 64, and you had the GameCube, and then you had the Wii. And I definitely think they've taken inspiration from how they were setting things up with the Wii. What you can do here, there's a button at the back here. Hold it in, slide it out, hold it in, slide it out. And you can see there it's got, you know, the kind of message there showing you what you're doing. And you put the stand down and you can sit and play like that. And I've seen a lot of people, you know, talking about this. I've seen people doing this in the plane where each get a controller for playing Mario Kart and things like that. But as an actual games controller, what you can do is use this here. And I like how it lights up there. And what you get is this controller. Now, I'm not going to say this is the best controller in the world, because it's not. But it's a very interesting idea. And, you know, having played a few games, it does work quite well. As I was saying, I think Nintendo have always been at the forefront of controllers and things like that. They've always taken risks. You know, the Nintendo Wii came out with this, which in some ways was a step backwards at the time. You know, they went from controllers that had so many more buttons, and they went for this, which worked with, if I can get it out, the old nunchuck. You know, you had the nunchuck, it would go into the background, into the bottom here, like so, and you had a lot of games like that, and it got everyone off their couch, and it got them playing games. I need to push the button in there. Now, you know, I love the Wii U. I actually had, you know, I went for 4 controllers. You know, I went a little bit overkill with it. But the Nintendo Wii and Wii U also had proper controllers, and this is the Wii U Pro. And this was a fantastic controller. Sometimes it kind of threw me because, where are my other controllers here? You've got a controller such as the PS3, and then you've got the controller like the PS4, and I've got the tablet there. You've got the PS3, PS4. Now, what always threw me with using the Wii U Pro controller was that you've got the thumbstick and you've got the D-pad here. On the Wii U, it was the opposite. You had the D-pad here and the thumbstick here, and it kind of put your hand at a funny angle sometimes when you're using the thumbstick. So, yeah, it's one of those things. You do get used to it. One of the things I hate about Nintendo is the cost. And I don't mean the cost of the actual system. I mean the cost of the games, because a lot of the games hold their value, but also mean the cost of controllers. You know, most of these controllers, when I bought them, were like £40 each. Very expensive for what they are. This Wii U Pro controller was, if I remember right, about £60 or so. I definitely did not get usage out of this, you know, for the money I paid. I think I actually imported this from somewhere, I think. I've got a fake version of this as well. And if there's any, you know, third-party controllers out there, you might want to look at them for the Switch, just because of how expensive some Nintendo controllers are. But the games are quite expensive as well. Now, I'll talk about the games in a second. What I want to quickly do is talk about the boxes. Okay, it's maybe not the most interesting thing, but if you look at the Wii and the Wii U, because these systems use discs, they just kind of went for the same format. You know, got it there. Pretty much the exact same. Minor differences, but by and large, they went for the same kind of setup. With the old Wii ones, it's ridiculous the amount of information they put in the back here as far as their warnings and that. I don't know why this one has got so much, actually. But yeah, the Wii and the Wii U, you've got a disc. It kind of has to be that size. They went for a smaller case for the Switch, which makes sense because, well, look at the size of the games. Just an SD card. So all of this is kind of pointless in a way. You know, it's to hold the manual and really just to help them sell it, because if it was a tiny box like that, it'd look a little bit silly. But these boxes remind me of the Sony PSP and Sony PSP Vita kind of boxes, you know, that kind of style. Quite different, a lot smaller. And in many respects, the cases are kind of irrelevant. It's really just for collecting and things like that. This becomes important, but they went for a smaller form factor, which makes sense. You know, if anything, they could have made these even smaller. But to go back to the controller, I think it works quite well on this, but I do think that if you had to compare this to an Xbox controller, to a PS4 controller, or even the older Wii U Pro controller, this would not win. I would put the PS4 controller, put the Xbox One controller ahead of it. I'd put the Wii U Pro controller here ahead of it, ahead of this. And I'd also put the Wii U controller, because this is what this is. This, you know, you've got the screen there, but this was a controller as well. But, you know, that is comparing it with this here. I think it's a different story when you've actually got it attached to the system. I think it feels really good when it's connected. You know, I think it is quite comfortable. I think playing games is comfortable. Just a really good controller. I think when it's actually like this, it feels more comfortable in my hand than this. But you do have options. There are controllers out there, but as I said, if you're looking at official controllers and third-party controllers, you might want to have a look at some of the third-party controllers to save yourself a little bit of money, especially if you're going to be buying multiple controllers. Now, if I zoom down here, I just want to quickly show you the store. And, you know, I was kind of talking there about controllers. I just think that in comparison, even to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, I've always found the Wii U and the Nintendo controllers to be a little bit overpriced. And this carries over into the store as well. If you look through here, in fact, I'll go to the charts. You know, Nintendo games always seem to hold their value, especially their first-party games. You know, Mario Party, Mario Kart, Mario Odyssey, games like that. They always hold their value. I mean, Mario Maker 2, £50. Mario 8, £50. And again, remember, Mario Kart isn't a new game. Mario Kart came out many years ago for the Nintendo Wii U. It's a re-release. They've just kind of repolished the game and they're still selling it for £50. Kind of crazy. Smash Brothers, £60. I'm not... You know, one of the things is I've been buying a lot of games digitally for the PlayStation 4, and I do love the idea of digital games, but one thing that puts me off digital games is the price. Sometimes buying the disc or the memory card, buying the actual game directly can save you a huge amount of money. Not only do you get a game that you can resell, you get it for half the cost. You buy online, you get no refund, you can't do anything with it when you've bought it, and if you don't like the game, you're screwed. But that's the price you pay to get something that's in your system all the time. But yeah, if you look at the charts here, there are a lot of games I'd love to just have on the system so I don't have to swap out the game all the time. But I think prices are quite steep for a lot of them. Rocket League would be a game I'd maybe buy. I've already bought this for the PlayStation 4, but I love the idea of being able to play this cross-platform and play friends, just, you know, sitting on the couch and things like that. So that's the game I'd maybe pony up and buy. But for the rest of them, I'll probably buy these games on disc rather than download them. Overall, though, you know, as someone who hasn't spent a huge amount of time with the Nintendo Switch, I would say that overall Nintendo have did a fantastic job. I do think this is a great little system. It's not perfect. It certainly is not perfect. They are addressing some issues in the new version as far as the battery life being better, etc. But they've certainly improved over the Wii U. You know, it's much faster. It's much more intuitive. And the controllers and all that, I think it, you know, the controllers are really good. Maybe my opinion will change over time. But overall, I think the overall package, as far as you put this into the docking station, it charges. You take it out and you start playing it, and then you take it off, and you and your friend can play a game with the controllers. All of that works in my opinion. I do think when you put this into the controller, it is not as good as a PS4 controller. It's not as good as a Wii U Pro controller, PS3 controller, and Xbox One controller, and not even as good as on the system itself or the Wii U controller. But it's a great idea. It is a great idea. It saves you going out to buy another controller, and you can still go out and buy another controller anyway. So it's not like, you know, you have to use that if you don't want to. What I would like to do at this point is dock the Switch. I'll do that just now. I'd like to dock the Switch. I'd like to connect up the Switch to my PC and record myself gaming. So I'm going to put that into the Switch, like so. I'm going to start putting it into that controller that I was slating there. It's not terrible, it's just not as good as another controller. What I would like to do now is just show you some of these games. Now, I've actually got another few games there, but I'll leave those for now and just play the games that my friend has already opened. I'm going to play Mario Kart, get a game of each of these, just play them, just to show you what these games are actually like and help me get a feel for the system using this controller. So it's now time to play the Nintendo Switch. After all that talking, I can actually play some games now. You can see the main kind of user interface here. What I'm going to do is put on Mario Kart 8, the old classic. We'll get this started. And as I said, I had the Wii U version of this. Going back to the Wii, I went through the whole steering wheel phase and all that. Mario Kart is a classic. One of my favourite games. I absolutely loved it for the SNES. Yeah, who doesn't love Mario Kart? I think I've bought just about every version that there's ever been. And it's one of those games as well, you don't actually have to be that good at it. I'm going to stick with 50cc. Okay, I know it's a cop-out, but really just to show you the game here. Okay. Go for the flower. From a game streaming point of view as well, it makes it easier for me to game stream because it's easier to move the dock about than it is lifting about a whole console. So maybe I can do some more game streams from the Wii U in the future as well. Okay, let's see how bad I really am. I have got it in 50cc, so I've got no excuse there. Okay, come on. Graphics are really good. And it's one of those things, obviously the Nintendo Switch isn't going to give you the same graphics as a PS4 and Xbox One. But I think, maybe it's just because I grew up with kind of very basic gaming systems, but I've honestly thought, since the early 90s, graphics have always been amazing, so I think that really it's all about the gameplay. The graphics are good enough on the Switch for most games. Yeah, maybe, first-person shooters, if you compare Call of Duty, if you compare, games like that, first-person shooter games, they're going to look better on the Xbox One or the PS4. And next year, the PS5 and the Xbox, what do they call it, Scorpio or something? The next version of the Xbox, will make the Switch look even more dated, I guess, in that regard. But it's all about the games. It's all about the games, and this is something that... Oh, dead. This is something that, every gamer forgets at one point or another. You do get dazzled by graphics sometimes. I fell into that trap as well with certain games, racing games and different games where the graphics look amazing, and then after a while you realise that, they've polished their turd. But I digress. I think, see this controller, I don't hate it, it just isn't as good as a PS4 controller. It's not as good as an Xbox One controller. Kind of feels awkward at times when I'm holding it. But I think if you are playing long periods of time, if you're playing I'm not even looking where I'm going here. If you're playing long periods of time, you'd probably be looking towards getting a dedicated controller. Certainly if you're playing, first-person shooter games and things like that. But for what it is, it's a very quick way of making a controller from your Joy-Con controllers. Yeah, I really did pick too easy a mode. Although, now I'm going to lose that I've said that. I'm definitely going to lose now that I've said that. I've said it's too easy, and now I'm going to get hit with about 50 blue shells. All I've got is bananas this whole match. No classic. If you're winning, you get nothing. No catch up. So, as far as Mario Kart 8 on the Nintendo Switch, you know, I've read a lot of people saying they've polished it up and all that, but it kind of feels the same to me if I'm honest. You know, I'm sure there's a list of all the differences between this game and the Wii U version, but when you're playing it, it just feels like the same game. It's no bad thing, you know. Mario Kart 8 is a great game, and it's a fun game to play in multiplayer. Oh, come on, I'm going to lose now. Don't be second, don't be second. I really would have deserved to be second there after what I was saying. Okay. Next. Let's put on Super Mario Odyssey. I've not actually played this yet, so I'm looking forward to seeing what this is like. So let's put on this, and we'll see what it's like. So I'm just loading this up for the first time. One of the things I didn't mention earlier in the video, but it is worth pointing out that because the game slot, the SD card slot is at the top, when it's docked, it's very easy to change games. It's not like you need to take it out of the system or anything like that. Oh, is it saying that I need to detach these? I didn't pay attention to that there. Okay. There are too many notifications. That's ridiculous. Come on. Right, I'm just going to resume. I'm going to resume, and I'm going to hope that my friend hasn't reached a level that's too hard for me to figure out what the hell is going on. Having trouble finding pounds, I can help you. There we go. Now, I have absolutely no doubt that this is going to be an awesome game. Toasterina Town. Oh, some coins in there. How'd I get in there? Did I slide? I wait to slide, wouldn't I? There we go. Looks like he's taking a crap. Yeah, this is this looks good. This looks really good. Probably should have started from the beginning, but I didn't want to go through the whole tutorial things, you know, all that kind of stuff. I suspect there is a map somewhere if I bring up. Is it? Yeah, there we go. So there's the map. You just push the minus for that. Warp here. So right, so there we go. So this is kind of more like Mario 3D World rather than that version, the Mario U version. Oh god, I'm not even paying attention here. So you know, it's kind of the 3D world that we've came to know and love ever since Mario 64. Kind of started off this style of Mario. Mario games are just, see if you're on a plane or a train, they're always fun. Oh, look at this, this is very cool. Oh, I'm gonna die. Wasn't paying attention. I'm not paying attention to anything here at this point. Right, I deserve to die because I'm not paying attention to anything. Oh. Right, I'm gonna get the camera angle here. There's definitely something in there. Alright, okay. No, this is a lot of fun. I think this is one of the games I'll end up buying. It's one of those games that you just have to get, you have to complete. It's going to be a fun game. It's going to take a long time to get through it. That's maybe something I can do with you guys, you know, in a live stream or something, when I get a chance. Yeah, just these games are always great. Oh dear, that's, I thought it was dead there, but still. That's bad. I really should stop talking and just start playing the game. So, yeah, as I said, this is a flagship game. It was the one that was selling for £50. I haven't actually sat and played this yet, but as far as, you know, went through a couple of levels and things like that, but it looks like it's a Mario game. I can't think of many Mario games that are bad. They're always good. And the learning curve is always pretty good as well. You might die here and there, but I'm not going to say they're easy, but they're at a point where, you know, kind of most people can play them without getting frustrated too much. Certainly the beginning levels anyway. Granted, I've got no idea what I'm doing at this point because I've not went through the game. Oh, there's a portal. If I get my camera right. Quite interesting that you know, you jump from 3D to 2D. It's quite an interesting concept. Quite like that. Let's go around here. Oh, I deserve to die here. I'm being really bad here. The other thing I need to, I never looked at that earlier on in the shop, but another thing I'd like to do is see if I can download some classic Nintendo and SNES games. You know, like NES games like Kung Fu and all that. You know, I've bought these games before. I've bought them on other Nintendo systems as well and things like that. You can also shake the Joy-Con to move. I don't even know if I should be going this way, should I? Right, I'm gonna take some time off from that and move on to the next game. So, we've played this before. I've played this a lot. I've got it for the PS4. So I'm going to stick on FIFA 18 and we'll see how one of EA's classic football games, see how it plays on the Switch. So here I am in FIFA 18, a game I know very well. I'm setting myself up for failure there. Interestingly, recently there's been a lot of news about how EA isn't going to support the Switch much after this, you know, for a number of different reasons. But this has been the case for a number of years. You know, they've never really gave amazing support. I'm sure a few years ago as well, like I've actually got FIFA for the Nintendo Wii U, but I'm sure at a certain point they released a game for the Nintendo Wii, but they didn't release it for the Wii U. So they released it for the older system because there was still a lot of demand for it in certain countries, but they didn't release it for the Wii U. Kind of interesting they went down that route, but you know, EA will go where the money is. Okay, let's see how I do here. I'm assuming it's just default controls here. Oh, it's weird not playing it in the PlayStation controller. I'm not used to playing it in the PlayStation. Take him out. Take him out. Let's see if I can score a wonder goal. That's what I want. Live on camera. I'll take that. Okay, I'm cheating a little bit, guys. I've got Lionel Messi will always do the job, but still. I wanted to score a big top corner one there. 4 minutes. You guys can't actually see the clock because of where I've got the camera. Oh, there it is, yeah. It's back up. Plays quite well. Plays good. You know, obviously the PS4 and Xbox One, more powerful, more storage available to it and different things. You know, I think if you want the best version of this game, you're going to look towards those systems. But I love the idea that I can play this on a train, on a plane. I actually said at the start as well that you can split the controllers and play with a friend. So, you know, again, it's a reminder of what the Switch is all about. It's one of the reasons why the Switch is so good. If you're with your friend on a train or a plane, the two of you can, you know, change a long boring journey into something that you have a lot of fun with. And especially as an adult, you know, sometimes you just don't get a chance to play games. You just don't have the time because you're working or you're seeing friends or seeing your loved ones, etc. Selfish loved ones that want to use up all your time. You know, and I love that idea. You know, you just... Oh, no, that's not good. Essentially, this is what it's going to be like for the Switch when I get it. You know, it's improved battery life, but I'm not going to get a more powerful system or anything like that, so... Oh, that was bad. Look at that for a tackle. He's still down, he's playing acting. Need to get another goal here. Right, how about I play to the next goal? Let's see if I can score a wonder goal. God, that was past the referee there.
Yes, it looked like in that last challenge he took a heavy blow to his upper thigh. There's no sign of it being taken off yet.
Jeff, I knew you'd know what was going on down there. Ivan Rakitic.
God damn. What am I doing? Showboating.
Between the two of them, try and get the ball.
Ah, that's... Ah, is that a corner? That must have been a corner. No, it's not. Run! I'm starting to get used to this control a little bit. I do think it's just a little bit small. I think I'm passing that too early. Go on, give me a goal. I've said I'll quit after the next goal, and then I'm not going to score now. No excuse in Barcelona.
Nice bit of interplay between these two. Real threat from Atletico Madrid in these positions. Coutinho.
Here we go. There we go. There we go. I got there in the end, guys. I got there in the end. Right. So, another game. The last game that I've got here is Puyo Tetris. There is another game that I'm sure that my friends installed, another few games as well though, so I can maybe play one of those. But what I'd like to show you at this point is this game. Show you the camera. Puyo Tetris. So here is Puyo Tetris, frantic 4-player puzzle mashup. Okay, solo arcade versus battle. Let's go against 3 people. Right, oh, I have to go Z. Zed's dead, baby. I'm just gonna let them go. Multiplayer Tetris. Yeah, it's always fun. I'm setting myself up for failure here though. Oh, farts. I want to get lines added to me, aren't I? Yay! Quite a quick game, this. As far as the computer goes anyway there. Oh dear. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Oh dear. Oh, no, 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 no. I totally messed that up. Right, I need to start getting lines down here. I'm dead. That was terrible. That was terrible. That was a lot of fun though. I'm absolutely terrible at the game, but yes, that was a lot of fun. I do agree with it being frantic. The one that I put down, I kind of misplaced. That totally threw me off, which I suspect you can't do when there's 4 people playing. Okay, it looks like there's another level. Second chance. I really should save up and do Tetrises, rather than these smaller lines. Need to start beating these guys. It's not the right one. Oh dear. Oh farts. Oh dear. I got too greedy. Oh guys, I've I've done it again. Oh, I was totally saving myself up for that Tetris. I don't know what the strategy is then. Oh my god, that was terrible. That was terrible. This is a great little game though. I really enjoy this. I think this is a game I'd actually buy. I think this would be a lot of fun. So this is a game called Earth Wars. I have absolutely no idea what this game is about. I've never seen any reviews. At this point it could be a puzzle game, a first person shooter, an adventure game, a platform game. I've got no idea. But for the love of God, please let me fast forward this. Okay, here we go. Let's see what this is about. Oh, right, okay. Right, I didn't realise it was an... It's quite a crazy little game, this. It's giving me so many different buttons to press here as far as... Do you understand this? Yes. Do you understand this? Yes. Let me play the game. I don't even know what you would classify this game as. Oh, I took a hit there. It's not good. Come on, come on. Die. I have been totally button bashing and not paying attention to any of the rules at this point. Probably realised that. Okay, so this has been Earth Wars. So, yeah, this is my final game, but I would like to play more in the future. But right now, at this point, what I would like to do is just kind of tie up my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch. I hope you've all enjoyed this look at the Nintendo Switch. If you don't have a games console right now, I think there is a good argument that if you don't have any game system, you might want to look at the PS4 or the Xbox One. Maybe you want to hold back until next year, but certainly with the consoles out just now, if you're planning on playing on your big screen, if you're planning on playing from your couch and just playing on your television all the time, it makes more sense to go with something like the PS4 or the Xbox One. If you already have one of those systems, you might want to look at the Switch. Likewise, if you don't have any game system but you want to play on the move, well, this is where this excels. I love the idea and I love the concept of this. I love the fact that I can play this on a train, I can play it on a plane, I can play it in bed, I can play it in my big television downstairs, I can give the controller to a friend and the two of us can play a game. The way that it's all set up is fantastic. Now, I know a lot of you guys have this already. I know many of you, most of you I'm sure, have actually played this. This was the first time that I'd really spent any significant amount of time with this. Previously, I'd picked up at a friend's house and, played a few games. But this is the first time I really spent a lot of time with it and kind of navigated through the user interface and all that and really get a feel for what this is all about. Now, as someone who's came from the Nintendo Wii U, I can certainly see where they've improved. This is a lot lighter. It's a lot more portable. The screen looks much better. It's not as sluggish. This was a problem with this. It was always kind of slow at updating, slow at loading games. This is a lot more refined, which is understandable. It's a newer system. But I guess the biggest thing is that this is a standalone device. For this to be running, if I hide this dock out the way here, you can see that the Nintendo Wii U here has to be running for this to work, because this has to be in range of the Nintendo Wii U, whereas this is a standalone system. I will take a closer look at the Switch versus the Wii U in another video. I want to just kind of expand upon, the differences in the controllers and things like that. I'll do a separate video about that. But I hope you've got a better idea of what this is all about now. I'm sure that there's many of you that have played it, or maybe some of you that haven't played it, that are perhaps thinking about getting this. And I do think it is a good time to buy it. Yes, we've got the new systems for the PlayStation and Xbox coming next year. But because this new version is coming out, you're going to have the option of buying this with the better battery life. You've got the original version that doesn't have the better battery life, but it should come down in price. So, if they price it correctly, you could be as well buying the one that doesn't have as good battery. It still has good battery, but just not as good. And you might save yourself some money. And of course, you do have the Switch Lite coming out as well. Now, I know the Switch Lite isn't going to attract the attention of everyone. The controllers don't come off it. It really is just a kind of standalone handheld system. But a lot of you guys might want to buy that. Personally, I'm going for this version because I can dock it. I can, connect it to a television. I can take the controllers off and, play games with friends. But more importantly, I don't think the Lite version is cheap enough. I think if the Lite version was priced a little bit cheaper, it's coming out about the 200 mark, where it's going to be about 300 for this still. At, that kind of price range, I would still lean towards this version just because it's a little bit more versatile and because, well, it does switch, hence the name of it. But I can see the appeal of people buying this, buying the Lite version if they've already got one, or buying the Lite version if, they're just going to be playing it on the couch. But it's up to you guys. I do think it's a good time to be a Nintendo Switch owner. There's a lot of good games coming out on it. There's a lot of good games that are out on it already. There's another Zelda coming. There's a lot of good Mario games on it. You've got Mario Maker, Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart, etc. And there's a lot of good third-party games on it as well. So when I get my new improved battery version, I'll be taking a closer look at all the different games on the market and trying to pick up some fun games. I'm really looking forward to having this. I think I will play games more because I have it. I do go on the train sometimes, whenever I'm going to Edinburgh or Glasgow. And now I'll be able to sit and play games. And also if I go on holiday as well, I can sit by the pool and play this as well. Thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate you guys staying with me and watching. If you watched this far, I do appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do stay tuned. I will do another video where I take a closer look at it and compare it against the Wii U a little more extensively. But if you've got any questions about the Nintendo Switch, I'll try and address them in my future video of the new version. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for the continued support. I hope you all have a good weekend. And until next time, take care.